Morning, ninth grade, Tuesday morning. And today I will explain 8.9 and you will do your quiz 2. Now maybe you did your quiz 2 last week, great. Today you don't have anything to do if that's the case. But 8.9 is a key lesson. Up until this point, you have been solving quadratic equations and you've really never found the answer. You've just factored them and then you stop. And the good thing about 8.9 is they take you to the next step. Now you actually find the answer for x. You actually find the value of the quadratic equation. Yeah, I will do just a couple problems on 8.9 just to help you get along, and then when you're finished with this, if you did not work last week and you're just keeping up this week, you'll do 2 lessons today. You'll do 8.9 and quiz. And then when you come back this weekend, you should bring that quiz back with you so I can check it. So if you turn to 391 on your math books, you will have the words to know. The quadratic equation is an equation in which the highest power is 2, written in the form ax squared plus bx equals 0. So in these equations, it will always equal 0. It will be your answer to be able to solve them. So I will just start with the very first one. It's in a quadratic equation on page 393. You have these examples, but I will just not go over the examples. I will do problem number 1. It is x squared plus x subtract 2 equals 0. You solved these trinomials before, but the only difference is today we put equals 0 on the back. So if you take the 2x, I will bring that down to x and x. I factor that out. I didn't put the square here. I just simply factored the trinomial out to a binomial x. And because I have a negative answer here, that means I'll have a positive and a negative, and I just write the factors of 2 that equal 1. And so positive 2, negative 1. And if you do the math, 1 times 2 equals 1 positive. That's the answer here. So now you take these 2 problems and you break them apart. You see, I want to find the value of x. I have x plus 2 equals 0. And over here on this side, I take x negative 1 equals 0. I took the parentheses off. I worked this like 2 problems. Took my binomial, and I've got 0 as the answer again. Isolate the x. It's very easy to isolate the x. If you isolate the x, you have negative 1 equals 0. Just go positive 1. So that means that plus 1, what you do on this side of the equation has to be done on this side. Plus 1 plus 0 is plus 1. X equals plus 1. That's easy. You're used to doing that. Here you got x plus 2 equals 0 again. So you always use 0 as your answer to isolate the x. Now you come over here, you do the opposite, negative 2, negative 2. Guess what? X equals negative 2. Your answer for this problem is x equals 1 or x equals negative 2. Now follow me. This is what's so exciting about this is the key that we've worked and worked and worked and worked and worked of factoring. Now you are taking it one step further, and you are finding out that actually you can put positive 1 in x squared. Whoa, I copied this one wrong. I didn't even see it now. I should have put a big X and a little 2. You're probably laughing now. A big X and a little 2. There we go. You was probably confused. No, sorry about that. Here, you can put positive 1 and positive 1 here and work out that equation. Or you can put negative 2 and negative 2 in these spots and work the equation out. So you're actually finding that x could be positive 1 or positive 2. Okay, let's just drop straight down. Numbers 2 and 3, you'll work the same way. Let's go to problem 4. If you can see here, problem 4 is 20x plus x squared equals negative 100. Now, make sure I copied this one right. I copied the other wrong. That's correct. Now, you will need to rewrite this equation so that it is a trinomial. And if you recall back, I don't know how long ago we rewrote them, but you will put the x squared first. You always have your 2, or your square number first, and then your single second, and then of course the other one last. Now, because you're bringing the 100 negative across from the equal sign, you will have to change its sign. So take very notice. Anytime you take a number from one side to the other from the equal, you always use the opposite. So for this problem, when rewriting this equation, it's extremely important that you do 2 things. First is start out with your square, and then put your single variable, and then your whole number. And the second thing you need to do when rewriting that is be sure any numbers that you bring across the equal sign will always need to have if they're negative, they have to be changed to positive, or vice versa. If they're positive, they go to negative. And then you can put 0 at the end. So if I rewrote this here, I have x squared plus 20x, and then I got positive 100 because I moved it across the equal sign, equals 0. And now I'm ready to just work the problem like I did the first one. So some of these problems you will need to rewrite. Actually, you will need to rewrite most of them. The first line, 1, 2, and 3, you don't have to. So I need the square of the last number. Because it's a positive, I know both of them will be negative or both of them will be positive. And I need to equal 20. So the square of 100 is the factors are 10 and 10. So I did this off to the side. You didn't see me do this, but the factors for 100 equal 20, 10 plus, 10 plus. Both of them added together equals 20 plus. This one really is easy now because they're both the same. They're both 10 plus. So x plus 10 equals 0. You negative 10. Subtract 10 from this side. Subtract 10 from this side. X equals negative 10. And of course, I reworked the same problem here. You only had to put it down one time. X equals negative 10. You see here, over in the first problem, you had 2 answers that would work. You had 1 or negative 2. Here, in this problem, you only have one answer for x. X will only be negative 10. Now let me push over and I will show you the other part of the board and we'll do problem 7 and 9. Can you see? It's glaring there. I can't see. Maybe I should back up like that. How's that? Problem 7 is x squared plus 7x equals 0. This is actually like your example number 3. So if you look in your books at example number 3, you have this same style of problem. Now you don't have 3. You're not a trinomial here. You only have a bi. So it's not hard. You have your x squared. You will again put your x and your x. Because you do not have 3 numbers, you only have 2, you represent 0 for 1 right away. X equals 0. And of course the other one, if it's going to be whatever this is here, I just sent x plus 7. Whatever this number here is, you put it right here. You don't have to find the factors. Forget about factoring it out into a binomial because you only have a binomial. You're starting with a binomial. So x is 0 and 7. Well, it's real easy. You bring down your 0 immediately. That's one of your answers. Now you have the x plus 7. The way you find out, you subtract 7. On this side, you subtract 7 from 0, x equals negative 7. These are simple. They are fast. So when you do problems 7 and 8, it's easy. You always one number will be, this number is 0, this is negative 7 for this one. Number 9 is a little bit different because you have a 4x squared. When you have a 4 here, most of them are just be x squared, but this one is 4x squared. You will work it very similar. You just have to deal with the 4. Negative 49 equals 0. This one is not quite as simple, but almost as easy as this number 7. Here, you have to break it down x squared, so you have to break it in half. You have 2x and 2x. See, that's you got your 4 here. When you broke your x's apart, you have to break your 4 apart. Then you want the square of 49. Because 49 is an even square, you come up with 7 and 7. And you want to know what your factors are. 7 and 7, which is your square of 49. You want to know it's a negative, so one has to be a positive, the other one has to be a negative. That's not 7 sevens is 49. If you would have made them both negative, you'd come up with a positive. And so again, you will work this problem out. You have 2x plus 7 equals 0. So you're going to put 0 behind here. I did that. 2x negative 7 equals 0. 2x plus 7 equals 0. Here are my two problems. And so isolate the x. You'll have to do another step. Because of the 2, you'll have to work it another step. So you subtract the 7, so that makes you negative 7, 2x. Well, it's not hard for you to isolate the x. You just simply divide the 2 into the x, brings you down to x. You have to divide the 2 into the 7 here. Now, this is where you do the second step. You come up with a fraction, 2 into 7, and because the 7 is negative, your fraction winds up to be negative. Over here, you have a positive answer. So, no, you have a negative here, but you have to plus it. So you wind up with 7 plus. Now again, you have 2x. So isolate the x, divide 2 into 2, 2 into 7, and you have x equals 7 plus 2, or 7 over 2. You almost say, oh, I got the same answer. Not quite, it's just one difference. This one's negative, and this one's positive. So, for your x value up here, you can put either negative 7 over 2, or you can put positive 7 over 2, and it will figure out equal to 0. Again, if you're finished here, no problem. If you needed help, this should get you going, and be sure to do your quiz today, and tomorrow I will come back with doing 11 and 12, and we will keep doing 2 lessons this week, and then after this week we will go back to 1 lesson. That is in case you did not work last week. Have a good one.